Hello everybody, welcome to this week's edition of The Verdict here on Racing TV. Lots to go at this week, courtesy of the July meeting at Newmarket, and 6 races from there to analyse. Right now we've had to leave some races out. There was a lot of good racing, but I've picked out 6 of the most interesting ones, and we are going to start with the July Cup, the big race of the meeting. This was how they bet, 6 furlongs of course. The ground was quick, it was good to firm, good in places, but we had something of a deteriorating track. There were kicking up divots through this race and latterly for the rest of the card. Dragon Symbol, 7-2 favourite, the 3-year-old. Starman, 9-2. Creative Force, 5-1. He'd been very well backed in the days leading up to this. Oxted, last year's winner, 11-2 and 15-2. And bigger the rest for the Darley July Cup. Let's identify these horses for you then. And they split into 2 groups early on. Stalls 4 and 6, the first and second came from Starman and Dragon Symbol, and they raced towards the stand side. Over on the far side we had Art Power, who took them along, the grey horse, and went very hard and did really well to finish 4th, and perhaps he's a horse for the Nunthorpe at York. He's a very quick horse and maybe the Nunthorpe would suit him. So we have 3 groups at this stage, and the biggest thing about this race, the main feature of this, was that they went very hard early on. Emiratiana fired a furlong of 10.39. That was the fastest split of the day from any race, and also Art Power went really quickly over on the far side. And if I just stop it there, at this point, just after or halfway, 16th, 7th, 8th, 1st were where the first 4 were. So the first 3 have come from some way off the pace, and towards the stand side it is Starman who overcomes some trouble in running and picks up in tremendous fashion in the closing stages. Here he is, he's just got out, he's just got it out there, and he's got a good gap to go through here and charge home. And indeed he came home through the final 3 furlongs really fast actually. 34.1 was his split through those final 3 furlongs. He really roared home, this horse, and he's a real credit to Ed Walker, his trainer, who swerved the Diamond Jubilee at Royal Ascot with this fella because of the ground, waited for decent ground. He's got it here, and he has now laid down a marker. He is the best sprinter around on decent ground. Dragon Symbol ran an absolute blinder from the 3-year-old. He came out of stall number 6 and raced right up against the stand side rail, and next year he is going to be a leading contender when he strengthens up. And I think there's going to be a lot more to come from Dragon Symbol. But this was a very good performance from Starman. Look at that final 3 furlongs, 34.1, coming from off the pace, and he got some trouble in running as well. Down the middle of the track, just pick out Glen Shiel. He's run really well. This is a horse who wants a bit of cut in the ground. Holly Doyle gets a good tune out of him. He won on Champions Day at Ascot last year. Back there for him, you'd have thought. This horse here possibly for the Nunthorpe. And as far as Starman, the winner, is concerned, well, it'll be interesting to see where they go for him, but it's going to be very much ground dependent as far as he is concerned, for he wants decent ground to give of his best. He's in the Sprint Cup at Haydock, but the ground's often soft there. That might not suit him, so it'll be interesting to see where they go. So how do we sum this race up? It was a very strong pace early on, courtesy of Emiratiana and the 4th home Art Power. Emiratiana ran a 10.39 split up front, and that was the fastest furlong of the day in any race that was run at Newmarket on Saturday. The first 3 came from well off the pace, so there was a bit of a pace meltdown. Was this a good race? Well, I think it's an above average renewal of this race. I think it was a very good performance, and it's one that Timeform have given a speed figure of well over 102 for Starman. There's a lot more to come from him. He's the best sprinter around. It's time now to have a look at the Superlative Stakes. 7 furlongs for the 2-year-olds. Debab went off favourite, 9-5. Native Trail, 11-4. 15-2 Private Signal, and it was 10-1 and bigger the rest. And the stall to concentrate on is stall number 4, Native Trail, jumping out of there in the all Godolphin blue. And I think he's put up a really impressive performance here, despite a modest final time. This was a steadily run affair. Now, jockey's a little bit circumspect, perhaps, in Group 2 company, going 7 furlongs on 2-year-olds at this time of the year. Didn't really want to go too hard early on and wanted to save a little bit. Native Trail, you can see him in there. He's a little bit keen in the Godolphin blue, but they just haven't gone hard at all. And often when horses pull hard, well, that can affect them if they've gone a strong gallop. If you're pulling hard off a strong gallop, you're not going to find much. If you pull hard off a steady gallop, well, you've still got a chance. And plenty of these were pretty keen in the early stages. The 1-2 racing together over on this side. there's the winner, and there's the second being Masakila, who comes home pretty well, and he pushes Native Trail hard in the closing stages. But Native Trail is just too quick at the most important part of the race. Now, the finishing speed percentage was 106.1%, so they finished the race off in the last 3 furlongs 6% quicker than they ran the rest of it. So they've gone steady and then they've sprinted, and it is Native Trail who can sprint best out of all of these. His final 3 furlongs 34.47, but really impressively, look at the final 2 furlong time, courtesy of Course Tracks, 23.47. That is flying along. He's come home really strongly. This is where he's about to pick up. Look how many horses are still in contention at this stage. Loads of them with a chance. That's because they've gone steady and they've crawled to the 3-pole and then they've sprinted. But he's the one that sprints best. Over on the far side, Dabab. He doesn't get home, I don't think. Perhaps he wants dropping back in trip. But this winner is better than the bare margin, I think. I know the runner-up's closing on him in the closing stages, Masakila, but I think he's got a lot to give, this fella, for Charlie Appleby and William Buick. Now, where will they go with him? Well, possibly the National Stakes. That might be where they want to go with this fella. This bare form wouldn't be good enough, but I think he's miles better than the actual result. I really do. I think he's got a lot more to give, this fella, and that's probably where they'll go. We'll see him at the Curragh next. The second and third, they might both turn out to be sprinters. They look like pretty quick horses. Masakila in particular travelled very strongly upside the winner, but the winner just had too much pace when it really mattered. A crawl, it turned into a sprint, but he's much better than those, this fella. There you go. How do we sum it up? Well, they crawled early. Finishing speed percentage 106.1 tells you all you need to know. The winner is miles better, as I've said, than the result. It's only his second start and he's won a Group 2, so that's a really good effort. And perhaps the National Stakes at the Curragh on the 12th of September will be the place they go with him. But now they have got loads of options with this fella. He's a really nice son of Oasis Dream. Let's have a look at the Bunbury Cup. It took place at Newmarket on Saturday. Heritage Handicap over 7 furlongs. And Amethyst was favourite. He was 4-1. Parotto was 9-2. Fundamental 5-1. And Motokahel was 11-2. It was 9-1. And Bigger the rest. And the winner was number 1, the top weight, Motokahel. He's run a big race here. This is a tremendous performance. I think he's a pattern race performer. He won this race last year and he's now come here off top weight, off a mark of 109, and he has annihilated the opposition. This was nothing to do with him being at a positional advantage necessarily or being on the right side of the track. This is about him being miles better than the rest. He raced towards the stand side in the Shadwell colours, there he is, and he just about made every yard of the running towards the stand side, and he has sprinted clear from these to win in a modest time though, 1 minute 24.03, and that's just a function of pace. They didn't go particularly hard, they went quite steady, rather like the Superlative Stakes, steady early, and then it turned into a bit of a dash, and he came home very strongly, this horse, miles better than the rest of them. His finishing speed percentage 104.2, so finished off 4.2% quicker than he ran the rest of the race. He's always prominent, he's nice and handy, and he beats a Fundamental who races to the outside of the stand side group in the blue cap in the Cheveley Park colours. That's probably a good effort because Fundamental is marooned somewhat out in the middle of the track. Here's the winner, and there's Fundamental, who had to come from a little bit further back than the winner, who was always prominent, but Fundamental had every chance really, just didn't have the pace of this winner, who's quickening up now to win this for Richard Hannon and Frankie Dettori. And I think now he's laid down a marker that he can be a Group 3 horse easily from now on in. Look at this here. He's bursting clear of his rivals. His final 3 furlongs, 34.55, gives him a Bayer figure of something like 101. But look, eased down, rated down in the closing stages by Frankie. He has won very well indeed. Now I know he raced close to the pace in the early stages and had something of an advantage in doing that, but look at that, finishing speed percentage 104.2. He's rattled home, this fella, in the closing stages. Nothing could go with him. They all had a chance. They spread out right across the track. I thought Lord Rapscallion ran quite well in 3rd place. He was always prominent, and Shine So Bright was back in 4th, but too much speed, 34.55 his final 3 furlongs, and he was much the best in this the Bunbury Cup. Let's sum up then what happened in this race. It was a steadily run affair, that's absolutely certain. The figures tell us that, the course track sectionals tell us that. A bit of a canter to halfway, they didn't go hard at all early on. The winner, well, he won off top weight off 109. That marks him out as being a pattern class performer. Make no mistake about that. Quick last 3 furlongs, he quickened up really well, 34.55. And I think we do upgrade the winner, but I think he's a very good horse. Perhaps we downgrade the rest, really. There's some disappointing efforts in behind. Perhaps not a particularly strong race overall, but a very good winner. Let's have a look at a maiden that took place on Friday at Newmarket. 7 furlongs was the trip, and there was a well-back favourite here, Noble Truth, 5-2 from 7-2. Sweeping was 3-1, 5-1. Altrafe, who attracted quite a lot of late support. Stormy Ocean, a drifter, out to 11-2, and 7s and bigger the rest. I think this is a race that's going to work out very well indeed. A really decent maiden. Noble Truth was the winner, jumping out of stall 13 in the Godolphin blue, and he's beaten Eraz, who came out of stall 3. And back in third was the well-backed Altrafe, who jumped out of stall number 11. Let's see how this race unfolded then. Rather like some of the other races we've discussed so far in the verdict, the Superlative and the Bunbury Cup, this was quite steadily run as well. They didn't go particularly hard. The overall time was okay, 1:24.76. It's yes, another winner for Charlie Appleby. James Doyle on board this winner, Noble Truth. And he's a son of Kingman out of a Frankel mare, so he's got a lovely pedigree. And he's got a real nice way of going about things. Out in front, it was quite steady, courtesy of Stormy Ocean in the early stages, trying to steal it from the front. I think he's a horse to follow. Watch what happens. He'll get outpaced, and then he'll stay on again. He wants further. He's one for your Racing TV tracker. The winner, he's just a little bit keen, but he's tucked in nicely, just in there. James Doyle's got plenty of cover on him. And there's one other horse that's definitely got to go in your trackers, and it is this horse here. This is a really good 2-year-old, Eraz, who's flown home in the closing stages. He's trained by Richard Hannon in the Shadwell colours. But look at him there. He's at a massive positional disadvantage in a steadily run affair. He's way too far back, but he comes home very well indeed over the 7 furlongs. I wouldn't necessarily be conned though. I think he's possibly a very fast horse. He's possibly a 6 furlong horse, I think. Look at the way he makes up his ground down towards the stand side with the white face. Meanwhile, James Doyle, he's still got cover on the winner, and he's just looking for a little passage through here. And Eraz is going to challenge down this way, but he's a bit too far back. Now watch this horse quicken up. The winner, it's a very good final 3 furlongs from him. The last furlong indeed, 11.93. Wow, that is flying along. And he was quicker in the final furlong than the runner-up. Now it looks like the runner-up's closing well towards the outside, but no, the winner's finding more, and he's actually faster according to the data than Eraz through the final furlong. 10.63 for the penultimate furlong for the winner, 10.8 for Eraz. So whilst Eraz is a horse to follow and maybe wants 6 furlongs and he's an absolute shoo-in for a maiden anywhere they want to go with him, this winner is very good. He's very fast and he's quickened up off this steady pace better than anything in the race, even Eraz. What about Altrafe? Well, he was back in 3rd place. He's out towards this side of the track. He's run pretty well. He was a bit over keen in the early stages, but he's run a very commendable race back in 3rd place. But that's the figure, 11.93 through the final furlong after he'd fired a 10.63. That's sprinting. That's really proper sprinting from this winner, and I think he's very decent indeed. So what are we doing? We're going to follow Eraz, and we're also going to follow White Cap, middle. Let's watch his run through here. He gets outpaced. They've crawled, then they've sprinted. He gets outpaced, but he's coming on again in the closing stages, and he's really strong at the line. He definitely wants a mile. He's already ready for a mile, certainly a stronger run race at 7 anyway. And there's going to be a lot to come from him. So I think what we're saying really is that this is a very strong maiden, a really good maiden. There's going to be winners galore coming out of this particular race. And I think the winner is already pattern class. He's already a group horse, and there's going to be plenty more to come from him. But there's certainly horses for your tracker in that race, particularly Eraz. All eyes on the runner-up, but don't forget the winner. He's very good. 7th furlong, 10.63 for the winner. Eraz 10.8. That just gives you an indication that your eyes tell you that Eraz is finishing faster, but the clock tells you that the winner was faster. Stormy Ocean, definitely a tracker horse, along with Eraz, and the last furlong, the winner was 11.93, which was pretty impressive. He's a nice horse, Noble Truth. Remember the name. The Group 1 Falmouth is next up. Fillies and mares, of course, going a mile. They're going on the quick side, and Alcohol Free was 5-2. Mother Earth, the Guineas winner, 5-1. Snow Lantern, 6-1. Prima Bazio is 9-1. It's 11-1. Lady Bowthorpe, Queen Power 11s, 12s, and bigger the rest of them. This looked like a very good renewal on paper. It was the largest field size since this race had been upgraded to a Group 1. And it stood up to plenty of scrutiny on paper, and I think it didn't disappoint really. Snow Lantern was your winner, and she jumped out of there in stall 13. She got an excellent ride from Sean Levy, who knows her very well. Mother Earth jumped out of 8, and Alcohol Free was third back from 9, was in third place. And it was Alcohol Free who took them along. I thought tactically it's pretty astute stuff from Oisin Murphy on Alcohol Free, who eventually finished in third place. Look at that. As soon as he gets out of the stalls, he's anxious to get across to the rail. Mother Earth follows him across. The others that are in the other group towards the middle of the track, they will join eventually. And what happens is that Murphy steadies them down, and they go quite steady through the early stages of this race. And this causes there to be a lot of traffic trouble in behind. Horses that got trouble, Lady Bowthorpe and Prima Bazio, to be precise, and also Champers Elise, she didn't get much of a run, and Snow Lantern had to trust to luck. Now there they are, they're concertining up, and there's Snow Lantern. She sat in there, just got nice cover because she can be keen, she can pull, but Sean Levy's got her nice and relaxed in a good rhythm just in behind Mother Earth, but he's trusting to luck now. He's going to need an out. Champers Elise's right next to him, the big white face. Well, she'll get squeezed out once they start to turn the taps on. And it's Lady Bowthorpe who caught many people's eyes. She didn't get a run, and she absolutely flew home in the closing stages. You can watch her. She sat in here, but she doesn't get the clearest of runs. They really wound this race up from halfway. It was quite steady for 3 or 4 furlongs, according to the course track sectionals, but then they wound it up. Now horses are looking for running room. Murphy's taken them across to the rail. He's got a lot of them in trouble in behind. There's Champers Elise angling for a run, but she's going to get squeezed out in a minute. And Sky Lantern, where's she going to go? Well, she gets a nice split there. Angles round Mother Earth. Champers Elise there, she's hampered. Lady Bowthorpe not in shot yet. She's going to roar home towards the stand side. And it's Snow Lantern now, who's got dead aim at Alcohol Free and Mother Earth. And there's Lady Bowthorpe rattling home in the closing stages. This was a fantastic performance from Snow Lantern. It suggests that she might have won the 1,000 guineas, you know. There's a chance she might have won that. She's a very, very good filly indeed. And she got exactly what she wanted here. A really good setup for her, not for many others. And some of the others, notably Lady Bowthorpe, would have been very close to her if they got out earlier. But she got cover, and then Levy was able just to angle out and get a clear run without having his momentum checked. And she picked up in grand style to win for Sean Levy and Richard Hannon, who was suitably delighted after this particular performance. The final time, it was just okay, 1:35.93. Nothing particularly flash about it, and that's because they went steady early and then they picked up from halfway. But she's a really, really admirable racehorse, and she's got a tremendous attitude, a high cruising speed, and she can pick up. And well, where will they go with her? Well, I don't know really. They could take on the boys. That would be a bold move. Perhaps the Nassau would be the obvious target for her, perhaps. But Richard Hannon said afterwards that this is it. She's done it. She's landed this Group 1. They don't need to go anywhere else with her really. She doesn't need to win another race. But obviously they'd have a good chance if they just take on the fillies and mares in something like the Nassau Stakes. So overall, a really good race, the Falmouth. It stood up to scrutiny on paper, and it lived up to that out on the track. It was a bit messy. I think Oisin Murphy caused that. He took them across to the rail, then he steadied it, and he caused lots of trouble in behind for the others. But he got the most out of his filly, Alcohol Free, so a real credit to him for that. Loads of hard luck stories. Lady Bowthorpe, Prima Bazio, just to name but 2. Champers Elise, perhaps a little bit unlucky as well. The winner got cover, and she settled, because she can be keen, she can pull hard, but she got in behind, and she settled really well. And perhaps the Nassau Stakes, as I've mentioned, looks tailor-made for her. Full credit to Sean Levy as well. He goes in and rides his filly all the time at Richard Hannon's, they were saying after the race, and he rarely misses a morning being with her on the gallops, and he's got a fine tune out of her to win the Falmouth. More 2-year-olds to have a look at now in the Duchess of Cambridge Stakes. Group 2 for fillies, it was over 6 furlongs, and something of a rerun of the Albany from the Royal Ascot, which was won by Sandrine, who went off the 11-5 favourite, Hello You 9-4, and quite strongly supported Desert Dreamer 11-2, Flotus 15-2, the same for Oscula, and it was 16s and bigger the rest. Sandrine was your winner, backing up that Albany form. She jumped out of stall 7. She beat Desert Dreamer, who came from stall 3. And back in third was Hello You, who jumped out of stall number 8. So let's send them on their way here. What are we dealing with here? Well, we're dealing with 1 minute 10.63 for 6 furlongs. The last 3 furlongs, quite quick really, 33.92. I don't think they went mad early on, but it's something of an evenly run affair, I think. In 2 groups, Sandrine over on the far side. There she is. And Desert Dreamer in here. I think when we conclude this race, we're definitely going to upgrade Desert Dreamer. I don't think she was necessarily in the right group, and she didn't quite get a run when Oisin Murphy wanted it, and she did come home quite strongly. She fired the fastest last furlong in this race of 12.24. Sandrine was 12.36, so she needs upgrading a little bit to Desert Dreamer. She's a very good filly, and she seems to like Newmarket. She seemed particularly good earlier in the year on the Rolly Mile. Sandrine now switched to the far side by David Probert. She's got a sharp turn of foot. That last 3 furlongs of 33.92 meant the finishing speed percentage was 104.11. So she's come home just over 4% quicker than she ran the rest of the race. So she has shown a turn of foot. She has quickened up. Now look at the horse with the big white face. Just struggling for a bit of room. Is she not quite sure where to go? Finally he gets out. And then she runs on pretty well late on to grab second place. Hello You in the middle of those 3 horses up front, weakening into third place. And there's Desert Dreamer firing that fast last furlong. That was a good effort from her, but you've got to like Sandrine. She's just incredibly straightforward. She travels, she doesn't pull, she settles, and she can quicken up. This is exactly what she did when she won the Albany. She's confirmed that form here, and well, she's probably ready for something like the Cheveley Park, possibly. Don't quite know where Andrew Balding will want to go with her, but top races over 6 or 7, you'd think at this stage of her career, absolutely fine. She'll probably go another furlong, you'd have thought. And she's a very likeable and tough filly, and she's fast as well. She's got plenty of pace. Desert Dreamer, I don't think she'd be inconvenienced by coming back to 5. She just is a very fast horse and a strong traveller, and there might be more to come from her. You can see her there with the big white face. Oisin's not quite sure what to do with her. She's travelling all over them at this point. She's going just as well as the winner, but I don't think he wanted to deliver her too soon, and he waited and waited and waited, and things didn't quite happen for him. Just there, not really got a gap. He's having to look and perhaps wait for them to split a little bit, and then he gets out, and she comes home really well. So I'd upgrade her a little bit. Time figure for this race of 103 for the winner. That's pretty good. She's pretty good. She's just a good filly. She's simple. She's straightforward, and she's quick, and she's got a decent turn of foot. Very likeable individual. Punch of the air from David Probert. Well done to him. He's having a tremendous season. Andrew Balding's horses are in really good form. So how do we sum up that Duchess of Cambridge Stakes? Well, we know that the Albany form's okay. It's been upheld solidly by Sandrine, who's very useful. It was evenly run. Last 3 furlongs, 33.92. Did she have to do more than she did at Royal Ascot? Not really. Not really. It was a rerun of the Albany. She did exactly what she did there. She is entered in the Lowther. She's got the Moygler as an option as well. I think Andrew Balding will pick his races and perhaps on his way to the 1,000 guineas next season. But she's a very likeable individual. That's the verdict then for this week. We could have put lots of other races in for you. In particular, I thought about putting Baid's success in. He won the Sir Henry Cecil Stakes. He did so really impressively. He flashed a fast time and he flashed a couple of really quick furlongs as well. But we had him in the verdict a few weeks ago when he won his previous race. So I didn't put him in again, but I think he's definitely a Group 1 horse going forward. Hope you've enjoyed everything that we brought to you this week. I'll see you again next time.